I've spent the past few months mostly talking about films from the 60s and 70s. I mean, those are my two favorite decades for film, so that's not a big surprise. But there were fun things happening in the 90s, especially if your parents had Cinemax. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at Exit from 1996 starring channel favorite Shannon Whirry. Let's see what she's up to here. After the credits, which go on for way too long and mention the director twice, we open on some sort of party. And there she is, Shannon Whirry, patiently standing on a dock, while I patiently hold my clock. Shannon, here playing Diane, looks lovely and innocent and white. A dirty man approaches. That's her boyfriend Kyle. He wants to take a shower before he gives her a surprise. We learn that he's a fireman. That might be important later, which I guess also explains why he was dirty earlier. Anyway, the surprise was a wedding proposal, even though they've only known each other for 6 weeks. That might sound kind of sudden, but we're talking about Shannon Whirry here, so I don't know what took him so long. They celebrate their proposal by doing adult things that you can't see here on YouTube.
Man, I just work here.
But of course, we don't have to stay here. You can now support the channel on Patreon and get access to spicy versions of my reviews. Link is in the description. Not everyone is happy with the engagement though, including Kyle's father, who is a sheriff, by the way. That might be important later. Some guys have come to visit him about a job, but he's so upset about his son's engagement that he's not up for a meeting right now. Kyle drops Diane off, and then the music changes, and a black-clad Shannon exits the building. No more innocent white dress. Now we're in black. This is known as color symbolism. Here's hoping that later she wears pink. And then we're at a strip club. There are various acts, too spicy for YouTube, and eventually the guys who had a meeting canceled with Kyle's dad, the sheriff, show up. Backstage, one of the girls gets into an argument with her boyfriend. He's unemployed, and she needs to work as much as possible before she starts showing. I don't know though, I mean, maybe a stripper with a baby bump could get better tips. I'm sure there's a market for that. And then Diane shows up, and we learn that her boyfriend doesn't know she works here. That might be important later. And then, outside, the two most dangerous things known to man.
Guns! White people!
The unemployed boyfriend joins those men with guns in the back of their van. These guys plan to hit the place, but the boyfriend says no because his girlfriend is still in there. The other dudes tell him it's happening anyway. And this is our first clue that these robbers are idiots, because it's like 6 p.m., which is way too early for the strip club to be full and therefore full of money. Or so I've heard. Back inside, Diane is on stage, and she is wet.
That's what I want.
Here you go. And then two interesting things happen. Well, aside from Shannon's two interesting things, I mean. She recognizes the guy from the canceled meeting, and the robbers bust in with shotguns. Oh man, they interrupted her routine. Now I have to watch these bozos, and I was just about to oil my clock. They don't spend very long in the club because there weren't very many customers to rob from because, as I mentioned before, these guys are idiots. So they're about to leave with what little money they have, and then some bigger idiot customer pulls a gun on the robbers and misses. What was he thinking? 1 pistol versus 3 shotguns? Yeah, that goes pretty much the way you would expect it to. And then the bartender pulls her piece, and she doesn't miss, but now it's 1 pistol versus 2 shotguns, and that goes about how you would expect it to.
What an idiot.
After the dust has settled, the guy who had his meeting canceled tries to reason with the remaining robbers.
Look, right now you're only looking at attempted murder. You kill her, or you let the one behind the counter die, you're looking at murder 1.
Attempted murder? No. If you commit a felony and someone dies, that's felony murder. That's life in prison. Learn the law, kids. Or just don't break it. But whatever, the robbers aren't law experts, so they buy this story and they let the guy and Diane go behind the bar to see if the bartender is okay. Which further adds to my the robbers are idiots theory because the bartender had a pistol which is presumably still behind the bar. But thankfully Diane and this dude aren't interested in guns, they're interested in saving the bartender. Outside, cops, including the sheriff from earlier, have started to gather. Inside, there's a fire, which gives the hostages an opportunity to escape into the freezer. Yeah, I don't know if that's the best place to escape to. Back outside, the fire department arrives. One of the firemen is, of course, Diane's new fiancé. So, now, all of our characters are in the same place, the happiest place on Earth. The bad guys decide to send out a hostage with a list of demands, and they pick Diane. But, on TV, she sees that her new fiancé is out there. Remember, he doesn't know that she's a stripper.
Awkward.
Well, that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. Shannon Whirry, we love her. She acted circles around most of the people she ended up with in these kinds of movies, and she was perhaps the most beautiful person to appear in these kinds of movies. That second part is a little subjective, but there's nothing little or subjective about Shannon's
Guns!
Unfortunately, this movie didn't really want to be an erotic thriller. It wanted to be an action crime drama. And it started pretty strong. I mean, Shannon got engaged, and then they celebrated by putting the ring on. And then she went to work at a strip club, and eventually made it on stage. Awesome. But all of this happens in the first 30 minutes. And then the robbers show up, and the rest of the film is a very low-budget hostage film, and unfortunately, all of the hostages have their clothes on the whole time. What were you thinking, movie? You've got stripper hostages. Take advantage of your idea. I guess I do kind of like that they tie up the hero like this. That position really accentuates his best features, 2 bulging biceps. Anyway, this film, like a girl slipping her ring over her man, has some shortcomings. Well, the main shortcoming is the one I already mentioned. This isn't an erotic thriller. It starts as an erotic drama and then becomes an action crime drama completely devoid of eroticism, and that's pretty disappointing. If you're interested in seeing Shannon Whirry in an erotic drama, you can turn this off when the robbers show up. Beyond that, what really grinds my gears here isn't the fault of the film, it's the fault of the filmmakers, or maybe the owners. Somebody out there owns this movie, and they, like the people who own the other Shannon Whirry movies, aren't doing anything with them. They're just letting them rot in a warehouse somewhere. They might even be lost at this point, I don't know. I know they aren't great movies, but Shannon Whirry was wonderful, and she deserves better than this. Somebody needs to take these films out of whatever film vault they're lost in and give them to a boutique label for a remaster and an HD release. That's a release I would really like to see. I've been edging that release for quite some time, just sitting here holding my clock.